show. This show has one simple question. What's on your heart and mind right here, right now, in this moment? We explore the depths and breadths of our humanity through that one simple question over the course of 30 to 45 minutes. I hope that you'll join us. I hope you'll enjoy the exploration. And this tune was created for me personally by the incredible Peter Griffiths, one half of the amazing Mind Takeaway. Do let us know what you think. Let us know what you take away. And of course, we always welcome challenges too. Hope to see you on the exploration. Ah, do you not love that tune, Cordelia? How cool is that tune?
That's 1/3 of my podcast,
How are you, Cordelia? Welcome to the show today. Great to see you again.
I'm well, Gary. And yeah, it's been ages. You keep yourself busy changing the world, so.
Or making a mess of it, one or the other. Let's see.
Only for the better. Only for the better.
Oh, I appreciate you, my friend. And just as we get going today, just that little reference that Cordelia made, maybe you just want to just share a little bit more about those collaborations you're working with before we go exploring today, Cordelia.
Yeah, absolutely. So Peter Griffiths and Mira Griffiths and I started the Unlearning Labels podcast in January of this year. And I actually I did an article about our most recent conversation. So we have monthly podcast episodes, and we have just started our YouTube channel. So do subscribe, and you'll see on my LinkedIn feed, the future of HR is all about people, and it has the link to our YouTube and Anchor there. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, look, as always, we're super informal. And Papa CJ, who, by the way, is one of the leading comedians globally, that knows all about improv, Cordelia.
Is that right?
So, hey, Papa, see beautiful smiles on screen. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And also Elise as well in South Africa. Thanks for joining us, Elise.
Hi, Elise.
So, as you know, we've got one really, really simple question. We know each other pretty well, but we know that in the moment, our whole human experience can go in any direction. So, right here, right now, in this moment, Cordelia Gaffar, what is on your heart and mind? I'd love to know.
Right here, right now, in this moment, my heart is about us being collectively our higher self. That's that's the only way that we'll survive. That's the only way that we can have a future as humanity. We are a oneness, and if we allow ourselves to lean into that and magnetize the love from each other, then all the things, that will squeeze out the fear. I feel that many people experience, and then uncertainty won't be so uncertain.
I love how surface level you are, Cordelia.
You know me, I just dive right in.
I love it so much because what's come up for me straight away, and oh, hi, Deneen. Lovely for Deneen to come and say hello to you as well today. What's come up for me straight away, and it's really fascinating, right, Cordelia, because as you know, when I set this up 6 months ago, there was no plan. There's no script. We haven't discussed what we're going to talk about today at all. There's two themes that keep on coming up in these shows, and I've just noticed the pattern after about 30 conversations. Love and play. Those are the two things that keep on popping up time and time and time again. And I think in the workplace, where do we find space for either of those intentionally, honestly?
At all, no. I was actually talking to a business coach the other day, and she was saying how she, even now that she has her own business, right, she wants to be professional, and she doesn't want to talk about love too much or woo-woo stuff, right? And she's found that it's caused her to suffer a little bit. And the whole reason she started her business was to stop the suffering of her clients, right? And so she's now vibrating that out unintentionally. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. please check out, as you can see already, like we're 5 minutes in. This is why I love Cordelia and the work she's doing so much. Check out her website at cordeliagaffar.com. You can see it on the bottom of the screen. I'd love to, it's really linked to what you said's on your heart and mind right now in the moment, that really innocent, as you know, I've been there myself in terms of taking on the stories of other people or getting inside my own head or after being bullied as a kid, you know, whatever our narrative is, Cordelia. What's going on there that someone can go out with so much love and pure energy to try and do good, yet somehow succumb to the prevailing system very innocently? What's going on there for you, do you think?
Well, yeah, the conditioning is blocking the barrier to receiving. I experience that a lot with the clients that I work with, you know, and in my book, Detached Love, I talk about some of those things, you know, just even my own challenge with receiving the abundance that we seek, right? So we're always talking about, oh, this world is abundant and I'm an abundant thinker, and you know, that's great. And your words are the key that unlock that veil, that push it back so that you can receive. And the vocabulary we use limits that receiving. So, you know, I always encourage that when you speak without a filter, directly from your heart, as if you're a child, just asking for what you truly desire. You know, you were talking about play, and that's what it is. Just play with the idea of being yourself and being truly open.
Wow, my whole head's just going like tingly already. This always happens with you, but play with the idea of being yourself. Like, how profound is that though, Cordelia? Like, we don't even know. I didn't know who I was, and I'm still working it out after 5 years of this work that you're bringing to the world. Yeah, it's just amazing. Like, have fun being who you are. Like, trying to find out who you are, what you're here to do.
Yeah,
like, that's a great invitation, Cordelia.
Yeah, it's you know, enjoying the process of evolution, enjoying the process of sorting yourself out, right? And I mean, it can be a literal thing, right? So I roll down hills when it gets to be too much. Like, I don't
literally.
Yeah, I mean, it's for real. Go to my Instagram feed. Like, I roll down hills. If I just can't deal with it, you know, with my day, I don't meditate. I mean, like, why? I mean, yeah, okay, it could work. It does work, but I have to be in a certain vibration to meditate. And that's something that I hear a lot of clients say too. They're just like, I can't meditate because my mind isn't still. Okay, then go swing. Go to a playground, get on a swing, and see how high you can go. And once you're high, you know, not on cannabis, once you're high, then you can, you know, like, jump off that swing and just, you know, get back into the swing of things.
Like, I'm grinning because, like, this is the end. This is what you do to me. Just being in a space with you virtually just brings my whole energy level up. But the important thing here is, and I think this is really nuanced, I'd love to explore this with you, Cordelia. Your energy and how you're showing up isn't causing me to do anything. It's how I'm receiving the energy you're putting out, and I then intuitively, I either go up with you or I stay where I am. Does that resonate with you? Because I think sometimes people think there's this outside pulling us to do something, but more often than not, it tends to be internal. Would you challenge that? Would you build on that? What's your reflections?
I'll build on that because it's come to my awareness that we do magnetize the things that we want to be part of our wholeness. And because we're having this conversation, right? You are magnetizing the things that resonate most from my energy into your being, into your wholeness, right? So, like, I've just lifted the level of your whole day now. And for those of, you know, for people who are watching and are open to receiving, I've lifted their vibration as well, you know, and maybe awaken their consciousness. And so we have a choice, and we don't have to magnetize the gloom and doom. Gloom and doom can be, but we don't have to pull that into our being.
It's so I'm just going to give you a couple of real life examples right now. Hey, Maribel, great to see you.
Hey,
Greetings,
Maribel.
Gary and Cordelia. Loving this conversation. Many of us are work in progress. I know I am. Love the vulnerability. And also, hey, good to see you again, Zara as well. Be yourself, be ourselves, and speaking our truths. And
Yes.
here he is. The Papa CJ, Gary's going to go and get on a swing now. You know it. You absolutely know
I can totally see you doing that.
Like I've already got it in my mind, Papa, where I'm going to get on that swing. Like it is going to happen today, and I might even get myself on it. Yeah, that's a different story. But Papa also shared, yeah, maybe the fact love and play keep popping up is because they're at conversations with you. Oh, very sweet. But that's very much speaking to what you said, Cordelia. I guess now that I'm aware in my consciousness of those two really key leverage points, they do keep popping up, or maybe I'm looking for them. I don't know, but there's something very curious about there's definitely a pattern though. Anyway.
Yeah. I think you're magnetizing it towards yourself just because you're open to receiving it. And you're probably bringing that up in the people that you talk to.
So what's really profound for me and powerful in what you're sharing right now in this moment is Papa C. I've got to put this up. Honestly, this is what happens when you get a comedian in the show. Okay?
I know. Behave.
I don't know. Papa
Double
C.
entendre. Just leave it.
Yeah. We've got to put it. It's very rare I go speechless. 1, no, Papa CJ. 2, yes, I will find a swing. But talk about lose your train of thought. Yeah. Anyway, look, this is what happens. Live TV, eh? It's live TV today. So I would love, in addition with this conversation today, what is something linked to this where you started? You're really interested in this. You know, how do we magnetize? How do we bring out the best, highest level version of ourselves? If someone's watching this right now, going, yeah, it's a bit woo-woo. Yeah, it all sounds a bit spiritual for me. You know, I'm all about results and hard numbers. What would you say to them? Any invitations for them where they might want to explore or to get curious?
Yeah, so this is, quite honestly why I created my Replenish Me process, because in my previous life, I was a CFO, right? So I'm all about the numbers and the bottom line too. So how do I reconcile this new realization and awareness to practical life and business? And it's releasing the conditioning, being open to not doing what's expected and what's accepted, and listening first and foremost inwardly, listening to your heart, and then being present with what you hear. I actually created a half-day retreat that's happening this coming Saturday, being present with love. And that's really what that's about. What is presence? Then what is love? And so, this is the thing with the English language. I pick on English all the time, specifically the British. No.
What are all those S's? Where's the Z's? This is crazy. Get rid of your S's. I get it.
But, love is, it's how we come to be. Ziggy Marley. Please let this be Ziggy Marley. Yeah, it is Ziggy Marley. It says love is my religion, right? And Lenny Kravitz says let love rule, right? So, and it doesn't mean romantic love. It just means what I was talking about, reconnecting to the oneness, right? So we all come from a oneness, and we are pieces of that. And so in the business sense, what you do is once you listen to your heart and you get present with what you're hearing, then honor that by restructuring your habits. If you have a habit of work, and your body is tearing down and you're unable to think and perform, then guess what? Work less, because that honors you being more present and being more productive. If you're in a habit of, always being tired, guess what? You need to sleep because you're in a human body and you're not a robot. And again, sleep is the number one metabolic stabilizer, and it helps all body systems to be at their optimum level. One of the things that I dove into immediately was my nutrition, because, going from an accounting background into woo-woo land, I needed something that I could see some results. So, just changing the way you eat. And this actually is part of my replenish me process when I talk about restructuring. You look at sleep, you look at nutrition, you look at your physical activity. And so, so I have actually a certification in sports nutrition, and I'm working towards being a holistic practitioner now. And so when I'm talking about nutrition, I know what I'm talking about. And if you don't believe me, just read my book, Detached Love. So you can eat foods that will turn your brain on. You can eat foods that will open you up to being more receptive. Some very simple things you can do are like having herbal tea, right? Herbal tea with rose petals and lavender. It's calming, but it also opens your heart to listening to yourself. Foods that will help to turn your brain on. We know about the good fats, right? But everybody cannot eat avocados. It's a texture thing, right? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Even sometimes of the year, I don't want to eat an avocado. However, you can always have nuts if you don't have nut allergy. Like walnuts are really great for brain activity. It's a safe source of omega-3s and omega-6s, because I don't know what is up with our oceans these days. I'm not eating fish, okay? And I used to love sushi, actually. That's just some of the practical things you can do. And I know it seems like we've just turned into a nutrition hour. And to be honest, that's what makes the body work, right? Because we don't put gasoline in our bodies, we put food. And what helps us to metabolize that is sleep. And what helps us to have more energy during the day is going outside and sitting in the sun and moving, because our bodies are meant to move. We're not meant to be stationary. So that's the practical.
Excuse me. It's brilliantly practical. And the thing is, what's going off in my mind and in my body, actually, as you share all of these insights, Cordelia, is corporate life. Don't do that. Corporate life. Don't do that. Like literally everything you've described is suppressed, I think, still in 2021. How we organize work, how we organize team events, what we value. It's all still about human being is a robot, actually. You will do what I tell you to do. You will stay in that place. You won't think for yourself. Like, a lot of people might want to challenge this, and I welcome the challenge. That's what I said at the beginning. The reality of the situation is, certainly in corporate life, it is still way, way, way too patriarchal as a structure. So that's why I love what you're bringing to the world, Cordelia, because I think if we can get a few more CEOs, a few more CFOs, a few more senior leaders to open up to your replenish me process, we will change the world, right? And I mean that, because we need more of this feminine energy. I didn't say gender, energy. We need more of this connection. We need more of this listening. We need more of this caring. Like you said at the beginning, we're not going to be here if we don't have more caring, love, and connection. We are just not going to be here in 50 years' time. I believe that. I genuinely do.
Yeah, 100%. It's, that's the refresh. We have to refresh our mindset and be kind to ourselves, be compassionate, self-compassion, self-forgiveness, and be in full self-trust that doing what is loving and kind for yourself will change the world, change your life, and increase your bottom line. I think I changed my LinkedIn thing recently to, turning leaders into relaxed human beings, right? Or something like this.
Amazing.
Because the most relaxed person in the room is the most powerful person in the room.
It's so cool, this. And I, excuse me, I'm going to bring this to life as well through a equine point of view. So I had my first ever, Cordelia, equine facilitation experience last October.
Okay.
And it's exactly the same thing. Horses will not react in the same way that humans do to each other. As soon as horses feel any tension, they go in the opposite direction. And so it's really interesting, again, that if we can learn to feel and to connect and sense one another, we don't always have to, as you said, words are so, they're helpful, but they're also a hindrance because you can't always speak what you're feeling. So we need to build that sensing muscle, don't we? Which I think is part of your work as well.
Yeah, that's the presencing, because I start with the muscle memory. There's a lot of things in our muscle memory and nervous system, right? Which affects our heart and affects the way we speak and the way we show up and, who we are and how we are. And so, yeah, there's a lot of horse therapy work. I didn't know that so tell me more about your experience. Now I'm curious about that.
I'd love to share my screen. I've not got that clever on here yet. But first of all, before I answer the question, I just want to say thanks to Amara, one of my previous guests.
Hey.
Being present with love, so important. Thank you, Amara, for sharing with us. Papa CJ's still around. I'm not sure if I can put him on anymore, but I think he's keeping the fun going. So Gary's in England. Sadly, no sun there.
It's behind the clouds. It's there. Of course it's there. Good
point. Papa, Cordelia, you need to know each other. You need to know each other.
We'll get connected after this.
You two do need to know each other. But to answer your question about equine, so for me, it was a really powerful experience from the point of view that I went in, and I've got pictures of this actually, Cordelia. So my coach, Joe Menon, just sat me down and said, okay, what do you want to get out of today? What's on your mind? So physically, on a piece of A3 paper, I had a number of different thoughts and feelings. But at the end of the day, I didn't really, I literally just brain dumped them. Yeah. So just dump them down. By the end of the day, I literally gone from this A3 page of complete disorientation, didn't know where, nothing was connected, a real mess. At the end of the day, that's how I feel. They're the principles that matter to me. That's how I want to show up. And it was totally organic. There was no planning in that process. It's just literally between the beginning and the end of the day, I had completely sort of reset myself is probably the best way of describing it. And that came through. I walked 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers down a road with a horse that was 3 times my body weight. And I controlled it by my energy, walking, stopping, slowing down, walking, stopping. No reins, nothing. Okay, I had reins in case the horse got startled. Yeah. But apart from that, I literally moved that horse up and down this road using just my energy. Once you've had that experience, it completely shifts how you view everything, if I'm honest.
Yeah. And you know what it demonstrates is exactly what I was talking about, how we're all part of the oneness, right? So you and that horse, right? And the plants and the wind and the rain, we're all coming from the same source, the same energy. And when you allow yourself to align with that, look at the results. Go, Gary.
I appreciate the reflection, because I think this is something I have a lot of trouble with myself, honestly, Cordelia, is I go through one month. I'm really I do care about inclusion, that diversity, everybody having equal opportunity, equity. And then I'm really down on that side. And then I'm talking about the oneness, we are all connected. And then you see in social media, there's this battle of, you have to acknowledge this. You can't come from a place of love and oneness without dealing with all the pain, and I don't say yes or no to that. There's just different expressions of where people are at. But I find that a really regular tension for me between this acknowledgement of previous harm and systemic challenges, but also the knowing in my body that we are all come from the same stuff, and trying to blend those two things together is a really interesting sort of challenge for me at times. I don't know if that resonates with you at all or not.
Yeah, it's not a challenge for me. I always speak in this is her second year, for Vivian Aqua's Amplified DEI. So Last year, I spoke about respecting mothers in the workplace. And this year, I'm talking about sexual assumptions of Black women in the workplace. And so, you know, when I was younger and actually, I guess it was in my 20s and my 30s, right? So before I was a mother and after I was a mother, I experienced sexual harassment in the workplace. And for those who are wondering, like, I was also non-Muslim at one point and Muslim. So it didn't change just because I put on a hijab. You know, the sexual assumptions were still there. And so for me, speaking about diversity, equity, and inclusion is just, you know, pain and trauma. It's data, it's information. And you use that just like you use any other data. Speaking, you know, I'm emotions opener transformation coach, right? So the other data that we deal with is like, okay, so I go to work and, you know, someone says something sideways to me and, you know, touches me inappropriately. And I have feelings about that. So that's the other data. Now my feeling about that situation. And yeah, so rage has been a part of my personal professional life. And but I can't go postal, as we say in the United States, right? I can't come in with a AK-47 and like take down the place. The way to do that is, you know, I would love to say going to HR, but just listen to the recent conversation with Neely and Joe on the Unlearning Labels podcast, so you hear more about my real thoughts and the way that shows up in the real world. It's really simple, you know. It's if we come from a place of self-leadership and we are present with ourselves. You know, the reason why people aggress on other people is because there's something deficient within themselves and they're looking for someone to attack. So the men in the workplace that, you know, sexually harassed me, it was because, you know, I don't know what's going on in their personal lives. I don't know what was happening at home, but they felt the need to come to work and aggress upon a short, young Black woman, you know, because they're in a position of power. And the fact of the matter is they are not in a position of power. In fact, they're struggling with their own insecurities. And so they are victims of their own emotions. And once we disallow ourselves to succumb to the aggression that we're committing on ourselves internally, then we won't aggress upon others. And there's no such thing as a microaggression. If you're aggressing on anybody, it is not a micro thing. It is a macro thing. It always is, you know. And I am willing to bet that every single person that's ever aggressed on anyone, no matter why they chose that person to aggress upon, they're struggling and suffering in silence. So if they, you know, that's where the door needs to shut. Have some self-compassion. And then, you know, we won't need an HR department, or we won't need diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, because everyone will be vibrating higher, just like I said at the beginning.
I love how you weave our conversation so perfectly. 28 minutes, 46 seconds, Cordelia Gaffar.
And that's how long our podcast was too. Remember when you were on the B2B show? It was like 28 minutes. So
it's amazing, but I really want to hold space for that really powerful comment you just shared, because the reason I put my hand up is that I know when with my wife, when I don't mean dominant in like, but when I'm trying to win, or if I'm trying to get my point across, I know how that feels. If I'm doing it in that way that is, you know, basically aggressive, as you say, it's not even micro, or if you're doing it with a colleague, or if you're doing it with a friend, you know. I'm self-aware enough now to know to apologize when it does happen, and it does happen because I'm human. But I love how you're just so critically clear. If we come from a place of internal self-love, connection to self, connection to others, like, we're not going to have the dysfunction that we see on the outside. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have a choice but to be congruent. And that's the incongruency is the whole reason why we need diversity and equity and inclusion policies. And for every, that's what me, Peter, and Mira are about. That's why we chose unlearning labels, because, we're not DEI experts. We are unlearning labels experts, because the words you use, that really creates your world. And we hear that all the time, and we have no clue what that means. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but what's more important, I want to know what game you're going to go and play this afternoon, yourself or with your kids, as you go and have more play this afternoon in your day, Cordelia. What's on your agenda?
Well, I have a bunch of footballers here, so we're in. I don't know what language to use, actually. So, like, for you, footballers, for American soccer players.
How are you spelling soccer, Cordelia?
Well, then, and then on a personal note, just for myself, it would be soca, right? So, but that's not to do with soccer. That's to do with dancing. And for my Caribbean folks, you'll understand what I'm saying. So.
I love it. I love it. Cordelia, I love spending time with you. Thank you. Please do check out. Let me put it up again. If you've stayed with us live, thank you. Honestly, I think we've had the most amount, that's awful English. The most amount of people, I think, join one of our lives has been with you, Cordelia, today. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. So Papa CJ, you make me laugh. He put another couple of things on that you'll find in the comments on LinkedIn, but I'm not putting them all up. I love Papa CJ, but not that much. Thanks, Elise. Thanks, Deneen. Thanks, Maribel. Thanks, Amada. Anybody else that's joined us, thanks so much today. Do go and follow Cordelia's work. If you don't know Cordelia already, you can see why I'm grateful that she's a friend. I'm grateful for the work she's doing. Check out CordeliaGaffar.com. And just, wow, you blow me away every time. Like, where is half an hour gone? That is flow state. That's flow state.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm grateful, Gary. I always enjoy our conversations, and it's been super powerful. So have an amazing day. What are you going to play? Oh, you're going on the swing.
I'm going to find a swing. I'm going to go find a swing, and I will do a recording of it, and it will come somewhere on social media at some point. So thank you for all you're doing, my friend. There will be a little video now if someone's interested to get support from me in terms of stepping into your own power in a way that Cordelia is doing. Here's a little 2-minute clip. If not, jump off, enjoy your days. And Cordelia, I'm going to give you a little virtual hug. Just I need to.
Receiving it.
Have a great day, Cordelia, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Bye.
Take care. Much love. Are you someone that leads other human beings and knows in their body that there is a better, more healthy way to organize ourselves in the workplace, but we just don't find the time or just don't find the capacity to be able to reimagine what that could look and feel like? Or maybe you personally have suppressed feeling within the workplace. I did it for many, many years, based on childhood trauma. We don't always realize the power of the stories that we tell ourselves in our mind. And sometimes having third-party support to allow ourselves to think for ourselves, as ourselves, without any interruption, can be the key to unlocking so much potential, both within ourselves, but also in how we lead others. So I'm here, Gary Turner, as someone to offer that space to you as a thinking partner, on demand or over a fixed number of sessions. And should that be of interest to you, please do check out my Calendly link, and I'd love to have an exploratory conversation with you to see if we're a good fit. Until then, I hope you enjoy these insights from my previous podcast engagements.